we go. Welcome. This is our meeting for our vocal pop program at Utah COPA for American Fork or Draper for either location. We're super excited to have you here with us. I'll just quickly, my name is Katie Higbee. I am the conservatory director at COPA, so I work a little bit with every program, yeah, mostly musical theater, and but I'm helping today. So I'm just going to quickly introduce COPA for those of you that maybe aren't familiar, and kind of share what we're about and our mission statement and what makes us unique. COPA is the Utah Conservatory of Performing Arts. That's always a question we get. What does COPA stand for? So Conservatory of Performing Arts. It started, Mindy Smoot Robbins is one of our owners, and she started it a long time ago. It's gone through a few different names. It was Robbins Musical Theater Academy, and then it was On Broadway Academy, and now it's Utah COPA. She just was teaching voice lessons, and her wait list kept getting longer, so she started group voice lessons, and then it was like, well, let's just do some step touches, and then it was, let's put some costumes on, and then they outgrew her basement, and now we have 3 beautiful, amazing locations in American Fork, Draper, and Tuacahn, with hundreds and hundreds of amazing students and a faculty that's close to 100 at this point. So it's pretty awesome. Our other owners are her husband, Connor Robbins, and then Nathan and Susie Balzer, who are all wonderful. We are Best of State winners for youth theater, for children's music programs. I can't remember all the exact titles, but we've won quite a few Best of State awards over the last 15 years or so. And we're just really proud of what we offer, what we provide, the curriculum that's been developed, the faculty that we've assembled, and honestly, the students. It's just a top tier group of kids that are really awesome. I'm just going to share the official written mission statement of Utah COPA. It just says the mission of the company is to develop talents, confidence, and performance skills while experiencing purposeful performances in a spirit of camaraderie. In that one sentence, I think it really does honestly encapsulate kind of like everything that we stand for and what we try to do at COPA. Developing talents is important, and of course, we want our kids to be confident. But there's just also so many skills and life lessons that can be learned in the arts. You know, getting back up and trying again when you fail, standing and speaking in front of people, being vulnerable, working as a team, being reliable when people are counting on you. I mean, the list goes on, and we're really proud to be able to help these students in their growth and development as human beings, even more than artists. The artist stuff is icing on the cake. Okay, so I am going to introduce Tiffany. Let me just also explain, we have something that makes us unique. There's a lot of arts in Utah, which is awesome. I think we're so fortunate to live somewhere where the arts are so important. I think what makes Utah COPA stand out is that we have different areas of study and focus that the students can participate in. They can do musical theater. They can do music dance theater, which is a heavier dance emphasis. They can do this vocal pop program, dance only, acting only. And I think another thing that makes it unique is that they've spent a lot of time really fine-tuning a specific curriculum. And I think I've taught it at a lot of places, and I think at most places, the teachers, this might sound bad, but I don't know. I think there's good and bad to this, but teachers are able, they just kind of do what they want. So, you might get a lot of different viewpoints, which is great. That's not bad. We do allow our teachers to do that. But what I love is that there's a set curriculum that builds upon itself. as your student studies through COPA. So you know for sure they're going to be learning these landmark or benchmark things as they progress through the program, rather than just kind of crossing their fingers that it gets hit on. So anyway, it's a great program. I've had 4 of my 5 kids go through the program. So as a parent, I've been really happy with it. As a teacher, I really love it. And I just think it works. So, all right, I'm going to introduce Tiffany Nutter. You can see her on the screen there. She is our pop director, our pop music director. She is brilliant in so many ways. She plays the piano, music theory, cuts most of our music, does most of our recording sessions with our students. And she's just a lot of fun. Like the kids really love her. They tend to flock to Tiffany. So, and she always gets the biggest cheers when we introduce all of our faculty at concerts. So anyway, she's amazing. I'm going to turn the time over to her really quick to introduce the other directors in the program. Most of them aren't on this meeting, but she can just tell you a little bit about them and kind of who your students will be working with. And then we'll dive in to what the vocal pop program looks like at COPA.
Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome.
I wasn't very popular in high school, so I'll take it. I guess it's okay to be a nerd when you're a grown up. So we currently have 3 companies in the pop vocal track. Some of you who have been with COPA for a while, specifically in the Pop Academy, might be going, what is this pop vocal thing that we're saying? We are trying to really start to move towards really, really making our pop students really well-rounded vocalists in general. It's being versatile, being really well trained, being really well aware of like all the kinds of music that are available and open to the voice that we were given by God or whatever you believe in as far as that goes. Like really trying to make sure that they as an individual feel like they can find their personal strengths, whether that's in contemporary pop music or jazz music, or even musical theater music, or even if we've got some kids who are like, you know, I want to give classical a try. We will still focus very heavily on contemporary pop music, but we want to kind of start stretching our arms out into really becoming really well-trained vocalists in general. As Katie said, my name is Tiffany Nutter. I am the Pop Academy Director. I also teach in the MDT program. That is my first love, but I love all genres of music. I am known to listen to pretty much everything but country. However, I will teach country because I know it's really popular here and I can understand the beauty and the graces of all genres of music. We also have Corey Allerton, who has been with the COPA, has been with COPA for a really long time. She's actually sisters with one of our owners. Corey is like the embodiment of a Disney princess. She teaches our youngest Fusion kids, which is a usually 4th through 6th grade company. She is their director and usually teaches them their music. And then she often has a choreographer assist. This year it was Torin. It is likely Torin again next year. Torin is delightful, has a brand new baby and is really great with the kids. And then we are introducing a new director to our Gravity age group, which is our 7th through 9th graders. Her name is Mariah Plitt. She has been working as a choreographer for our Gravity kids this year. They really like her. She's got a very great young energy. She's really cool, cooler than I've ever been. And she will be directing Gravity, and then I direct the 10th through 12th grade group Rise. And so there are currently 3 of us. If any of you are here are interested as far as like the potential Draper location, we have not had high enrollment at Draper and haven't been able to run a company there yet. But in the case that we end up fortunately being able to do so, we will definitely make sure that we find you an amazing director that will be a great fit for the kids over there as well. So your turn, Katie.
Yeah, we actually did have a pop company one year. So that
we
was
did.
awesome. Yeah,
and I directed the one in Draper that year. Yeah.
They were super darling and so cute. So our Draper location just is a little smaller than our American Fork location student-wise. And so they don't run quite as many companies, but we always love to give the opportunity to have the companies up there because we hope that they would love to participate. It's a great program. It's a great fit. Like Tiffany was saying, we're sort of shifting from pop to vocal/pop. it will have a more contemporary feel. But just to add on to what she was saying, what we're noticing out in the real world is a lot more crossover. So if you attend like a Broadway show or a tour, it's often you'll often see in the actors' bios like a note that they're releasing an album or to follow their music channel or, whatever. So, and like, I mean, there's not currently running, but two huge Broadway musicals that were written by pop artists, Ingrid Michaelson and Sarah Bareilles. So that's a major crossover. And then you also see so much of the material on Broadway now is contemporary or jukebox.
Well, we just had Ariana Grande play Glinda.
Ariana Grande played Glinda, yeah. So a lot of the music a lot of the shows on Broadway are contemporary pop. And Juliet is all like late 90s, 2000 pop. You've got Moulin Rouge, MJ. There's just so many things. And so as a COPA as a whole, we just have decided that we really want to prepare our students to be a lot more well-rounded. And we're doing it to our dance kids too, where we're encouraging them to take the group voice and the acting, because there's not a lot of professional dance companies that you can go dance in, but there's a lot of musical theater and, pop artists that you could go dance for or dance in that show. So we're trying to sort of like broaden the scope of all of our academies to help them be more well-rounded. And it's a lot of fun to just do new things and try different things. And it's really interesting to see like our really straight musical theater kids that just love to sing classical and dance ballet suddenly have to do a Rock of Ages medley where they are moving in a different way and singing, 80s classic rock. Is it classic rock? Yeah, like 80s, rock style. And to see our musical theater, our pop students, have a go at, maybe something that's a little more legit and Broadway based, so that if these students do want to pursue this any further than the COPA building and walls, they're just really well-rounded and ready to go. We are trying to cater it to their needs still. So, the music dance theater program has a dance heavy component. The musical theater program has a more acting heavy component. This pop vocal program will be a heavier vocal requirement with way, way less dance and no acting. And they will be able to focus more on that contemporary sound, and they'll still have songwriting options and stuff like that. So, so don't get scared by the new title. It's going to be awesome and amazing. We've also found that as we've been performing together and touring together, that the kids really love each other. We've been sort of isolated for the last few years in our little academies, and we want to just kind of be one COPA and feed off each other and grow with each other. And we're just really excited about this direction. So it's going to be awesome. Not a lot's going to change in your curriculum or performances or medleys for next year. So don't worry about that. Okay, I am going to share my screen. And this is yesterday, we've always used Zoom, and we're giving Google Meet a try. And I did some meetings yesterday and it was fine, but it's not quite the same as what I'm used to working with.
We are creative-minded people, so bear with us.
Yeah, so we did pretty well. There's just a couple. The screen sharing is the only place where I sort of struggled just a little bit. So I was able to share. It was harder to like jump from screens. So let's see if I can do it right today. So I'm going to choose window. All right, so you should be able to see now Utah Conservatory Performing Arts, our website. So if you go to our website and click on this company auditions here, it will take you, oh good, it worked today, to our company audition information. And for right now, I'm just going to go through, I'm going to skip kind of a bunch of it and then we'll circle back to it in a little bit. But on this sheet, American Fork is at the top. And if you scroll down, you can see the Draper information. So if you're here for Draper, you're going to want to click down here. But if you're here for American Fork, I'll show you where to click. And it's the same spot in the Draper area, so just try to follow along. You're going to scroll. We have music, dance theater, musical theater to vocal pop. And right here you can see this is our meeting. Yay, you made it. So you found this sheet. Tonight or tomorrow, this link right here that led you to this meeting will change to a YouTube link that's a recording of this meeting. So if you need to go back and clarify anything,
you want to share it with
a partner, yeah, if you have a friend that missed the meeting that might be interested, that'll be a place that you can go back and watch it, and it'll be available until auditions. Then underneath it, this is what we're getting at, is this link right here. You're going to click on that, and it will take you to this lovely sheet that has all of the information you need to know about COPA. So I'm going to really quickly just ignore what you're about to see. Make sure I know what I'm talking about. Okay. So Tiffany, help me stay on track. Okay. So on this sheet, I'm going to quickly just read a brief description of this program. So it says COPA's vocal track is the ultimate training ground for singers ready to find their voice and own the spotlight with customized vocal training across a wide variety of genres. Students dive deep into contemporary styles like pop, folk, country, jazz, and musical theater. In a dynamic group setting, they build a rock-solid foundation in vocal technique while exploring the styles they love. Whether you're belting a Broadway ballad or nailing a pop hit, COPA's vocal track will help you train like a pro and sing like a star. Okay, so just a reminder also that our COPA companies are a one-year contract. It's from July 1st to June 30th the following year. And it's open to 4th through 12th graders. And then we're divided by company. So I'm going to quickly also talk about how we do our tuition and fees. We'll talk about what the actual numbers are in a second. But we divide everything by 12 months. So for that full 12-month contract, you will pay the exact same amount every month. No surprises, no sudden, extra large bill. We do this because parents requested it. Most studios, your fees are applied when they're needed, or maybe, I don't think most studios do this. Most studios charge the same tuition every month, but whether you have 2 classes or 5 classes. But what we've done to make sure the tuition is fair is we have like a cost per class, and it varies per class. Like a dance class that can have 20 students is a little bit cheaper for an hour than a vocal tech class for an hour that only has 8 students. And we know what the class sizes are, and so we have a cost assigned to every class. So we add that up. We add up literally every week in the year. Of the year that we have class, not every week of the year. We take out holidays. We don't count the weeks we're closed. We literally count how many classes your student will have. We add it up. We divide it by 12. So you pay the same exact amount every month, no matter what. And you can plan and budget accordingly. Same with fees. We are very meticulous about what we spend, where it gets spent, and what, all the extra things, and we add that up and divide it by 12. So what I love about COPA as a parent is you're not going to suddenly in December have 3 costume fees and a performance fee and, an extra rehearsal fee for the January concert on a month that's already, stretched. So you'll know exactly what you're paying. The only exception is, occasionally you'll be asked to buy a specific shoe, but that's something that you get to keep. And usually we try really hard to make sure the shoes are either something they can continue to use after the concert or extremely affordable and reusable. So we are careful with that. The other thing is like company t-shirts or gear, like backpack, sweatshirts. Those are not necessarily optional. There are some t-shirts that are required for tour and for rehearsal. But we don't charge them every year because you may have them from last year or have a sibling that hands it down, or you bought 3 already and can keep using them. So those are things that we don't include. That other than those 2 things, there's really not a lot. There won't be any financial surprises. So yeah, so just keep that in mind when we get to December and you only have 2 classes because of the Christmas break and you're frustrated that you're still paying full tuition, or next June when technically we're sort of done except for a couple tours and you're still getting charged. So that's why. And so far we've been doing this method for 9 or 10 years, and I think it works great.
I will say, before I moved here to Utah, my kids were dancing at a dance studio where we paid according to how many classes they had that month. And it sometimes was a shock when we'd have like a full month of like 5 weeks. And then also when we had to pay for costumes, I actually had 3 dancing daughters and I paid, I think it was $2,500 in costumes. Yeah. And I'm like, like, it
can get pretty insane.
Like, whatever it less if it was like spread out. So
yeah, it's great. It's just different from how most places operate. And again, we're an open book. If you're ever like, what are these fees for? We're happy to talk through that list with you. But in general, I'll just say that tuition is classroom hours, like the teacher, the building, the curriculum. And the fees are what we call hard costs, basically money that we collect that we then have to pay to someone else. So costumes, renting the theater, all of that stuff. So that's how they're divided up in general. So you won't have any surprise, like suddenly have to pay for a big camp or costume or something that you weren't expecting, unless it's like, like I said, those shoes that you get to keep or whatever. Okay, Tiffany's going to talk through the actual schedule and the program, and I will just keep sharing so we don't have to switch who's doing that.
Great. So the schedule, this is a curriculum that's pretty tried and true for COPA across basically all the tracks. That's okay. And so when you are in a company, you will have what we call company vocals and company choreo. And that is the directors that I mentioned. That's usually what they are over. That is usually where they will work together as a group to put together a medley that they perform at the Covey twice a year. That's their big concert. It's the group things that they perform. They get a costume for, and it's kind of like our version of being on like a sports team, where it's really important that you pay attention to their attendance on those during those classes, company hours. And it's a really fun time of learning and growing together as a full group, where they will learn harmonies, they will learn choreography, and they will work together to present this really fun number twice a year at the Covey. And then the other items, the vocal tech, is the classes usually get split in half, and they're not usually working with a company director. They're usually working with one of our voice teachers. And that is where they will usually be guided to learn an entire song that they will then prepare also twice a year, different times of the year, that they will perform at our facility at COPA. And so it's both training as an individual artist as well as an artist in an ensemble, which both of those are pretty invaluable training. With Fusion, they also will be required to take beginning hip hop. Even if your child has no swag, we still require this because they've got to be comfortable moving on stage. Our MDT kids are asked to take like ballet, tap, jazz. Our pop vocal kids are being asked to take hip hop because we want them to become really comfortable with their bodies, to be able to do basic street movement that can be carried with a lot of finesse on stage. And so those are the 4 classes that are covered by the tuition for Fusion. Anyone who has been at COPA in the Pop Academy will notice tuition has actually gone down for Pop kids. So that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So it's the only program that tuition went down.
It is.
You're welcome.
So jump at this opportunity, guys. But they still have those 4 required classes. Whether or not your child can always attend those classes, you are still paying for those. Those are covered by tuition. Tuition is not something that's adjusted. So I would definitely encourage your children to attend all of them, both for their education, but also because you're paying for that. But the company hours are the ones that are really important, that like once you sign a contract with us, we would really like you to keep those open and include them on conflicts whenever you do anything outside of COPA. A lot of the places and venues in this area know about COPA and they want to work with COPA kids. They have a really great reputation. And if you say to them, Wednesday nights are kind of sacred, they absolutely will respect it. And that kind of transparency is a really great lesson of integrity to teach your kids in the industry that the industry loves. So that's 4 required hours for Fusion, which is our 4th through 6th graders. Our 7th through 9th graders also have 4 required hours. They have vocal tech. They have their company hours where they learn their medley for the cubby performances. And then they also have a hip hop class, but we're calling it hip hop and movement because it's not focusing so much on basic hip hop moves, more as focusing just on stage presence in general. They often will work their medleys in there as well to do extra cleaning, and they are consolidated with Rise. So the nice thing about the company hip hop and movement class is that it's only pop company kids. The beginning hip hop class for Fusion is open. So if your child wants to do pop company and they have a friend who doesn't want to do pop company, but they would love to take the hip hop class with them, that one is open and they could totally join them for that. Rise, we're kind of shifting some things a little bit. It's mostly the same. They will still have company vocals, company choreo. This is our 10th through 12th graders. Their vocal tech class will no longer be geared towards the song that they're necessarily preparing for performances, but we really want to dive in and really, really, really focus on their vocal technique and really help them grow as vocalists. We find sometimes these kids start to plateau in what they're capable of because sometimes in these group settings, in these older age groups, they're starting to phone it in. And so we really want to turn this vocal tech class for our oldest company into something that will really get into the nitty gritty of their vocal technique and how they can use their voices. And then they will also be required, our Rise kids, to take an acoustic covers class. It's kind of similar to what they've been doing in the past. It was consolidated with songwriting, but it was getting stressful and they were feeling unprepared. So we are moving forward with that class, focusing only on acoustic covers. It's where they can get rid of the pressure of having to write an original song. Someone's already written the song for them, but their job is to find a new way. They pick a song and they work with their teacher to find a way to present it that's new and fun, a song that maybe they love and they never felt like was in their range. Or maybe they think it should be a ballad, or maybe they think it should be up tempo and they want to mess around with it. And that's a really awesome class where they can explore taking something someone's already created and messing with it to make it their own. And then Rise will be required. So that is their 4 required classes, but then they actually have a 5th required class. That 5th required class is a required elective, and they have 2 choices. They can either take a music theory / songwriting class, where they will really, really get trained in the music theory of pop songwriting. And then at the very end of the year, they will have a showcase where they can present a song they write on their own. Or they can take the hip hop and movement class with the other pop kids. They are welcome. Tuition covers one of them for sure. They need to take one of them. They are welcome to take the other one as an add-on. And so I'm actually going to kind of move into that, where add-ons, these are classes that are open to anyone. The songwriting class, that is something that we have tried to open up in the past and it hasn't quite worked, but we have a lot of kids not in pop who would like that songwriting. So the add-on is, even though Rise, it's a potentially required elective for them, Gravity kids can take it. Anyone 7th grade or older can take songwriting. And so that is not included in tuition. If you wanted to do that songwriting class, you absolutely can. And there's just a fee for a tuition fee for just that class that would be added onto your tuition. I think I covered it all.
Yeah.
And then of course you are
to clarify. So the reason Rise is listed there too is that let's say you chose the movement class as you wanted to do both movement and Rise and songwriting, you can. So
yeah. That's just saying that whatever company you're in, you could take either of those. So yeah, that's it. Okay, Katie, you already talked about fees, yes?
No, I just talked about how they're divided, but here's the actual fees. So you can see up here the tuition. She pointed that out. Down here is our fees. So the registration fee, that applies to everybody. And then the t-shirts are listed there. And again, you can get, whatever works for you. If you do go on tour, so everyone is required to wear black. We wear those to our company rehearsals. And then the tour colors, will be the same as last year. So if you were in Gravity or Rise last year, they're the same colors. You're welcome to reuse them. If not, you might have to get a few t-shirts this year. If you moved from Gravity to Rise, they're the same colors as Gravity plus one more. So, and we do use those on tour. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm buying all these shirts for no reason. They're actually pretty important. When we go somewhere like New York City with 75 teenagers, it's really awesome when we're in the airport and they're all wearing their bright red COPA t-shirt. It just helps us kind of keep everyone together, helps them stand out, helps other people be aware of them. It's kind of like that, when you have a student driver and they have that student driver, whatever on their car and everyone's more careful. Everyone around us is more careful. They let us through as a group. They let us through, security more simply and onto the subway, and people just are kind of more aware of us, and kids are able to find each other because we often tour with other locations. In fact, we always tour with our Draper and Tuacahn locations, and so it helps them know who's in our group that maybe they don't know. So we do use them. We will use every single one. We wear them on tour. We use them to travel. So get those. And then, like I said, the black ones we use every company rehearsal.
And also on tours, it has been really cool when they're wearing their shirts and they're doing something like when they're in New York.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Other schools are there. They'll be like, oh, those COPA kids, like, they're so cool. So it's kind of a fun little.
It is. It actually is. It's sort of become a trademark. We had someone, we go to a tour, Gravity went with us this year to MTCA in California. And we've had people say to us, like, we saw all your shirts last year, and so we got our kids' shirts this year, which I don't know, seems kind of obvious, but that was fun. And another group was like, this is our first year, we've never been here, but we saw like pictures of the event and videos, and we saw your shirts, and so we knew we had to have shirts. And it's also cool because all of these organizations that we travel to and tour with have Instagrams and stuff like that, and they will share videos and pictures. And when you see those bright blue or bright red, we get bright colors on purpose, COPA shirts, and we are a sea of students, it's pretty awesome. Like, it's like, there we are, we know exactly we're there. It's really fun and unifying, and so we just love that. Okay, so and then there's the monthly fees per company. So Fusion is $80 a month, Gravity is $85, and Rise is $101. This again covers all the hard costs. So you'll add this fee amount to your tuition amount, and that's what you'll pay for the 12 months. Okay, I can't go off of this screen to see the agenda. So Tiffany, tell me where
I'm just going to go back to some of the important dates. So when you're in a company, you are both preparing and paying for a few performance opportunities. I would recommend that as soon as you audition and are cast, that these dates become a hard, fast fix on your calendar. There is a lot of growth in the learning they do in preparing for these performances, but even more growth in the actual experience of the performance. And it's kind of a bummer. I will have students be like, I've worked so hard on this Meghan Trainor song and I don't even get to perform it because my dumb brother has a baseball game or whatever. So it's really, we try to give you these dates. They're here, they're hard, they're fast. They very, very rarely change unless there's something emergent. And what that is you'll see here on the event, live at the Black Box. Those are where they sing an entire song and they do it all by themselves in front of whoever you want to invite. They are free to attend. These are at COPA. And these opportunities, these happen twice for Fusion and for Gravity at the Black Box. And then Rise has a similar one, but that's with their acoustic cover. And that's a full song. And it's at a venue in Provo called Velour, and it's really cool. I always feel like the biggest dork when I'm there. I do not fit in there, but it's a really cool venue, and it's giving them that appearance or that experience with an acoustic instrument, which is really important experience to have, that we're not always singing karaoke tracks. So all three companies have 2 solo opportunities throughout the year where they're singing a full song. They're free to attend. And it's really great for their confidence. It's really great for their growth and their experience. And then all 3 companies have 2 other experiences. So this is for a total of 4. And those are at the Covey, and those do have tickets that you have to buy, but they're bigger, and it's the company thing that they've prepared together. And we usually have a theme. So in years past, we have not performed at the same concerts as MDT. But we got to kind of squish in there now, which I actually love. I love that our pop and our MDT kids have been performing in the same concerts. And so we're starting to kind of make our themes kind of smush together. So this year, MDT was doing Disney, and pop for the first performance did,
Number 1 hits.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Billboard #1 hits of like a genre. So Fusion did country, Gravity did rock and roll, and Rise did R&B. But this term, because MDT is doing this really big, massive like Disney tribute, our pop kids are doing songs from Disney credits. And it's a lot of fun because in some cases you're like, oh, I didn't know that was from a Disney movie. And in other cases, we're like, what is this song? And it's actually a lot of fun. So next year, the theme for the 2 big concerts, the first term is going to be ultimate playlists. So songs that if you were like making a playlist under a certain genre. So Fusion will be doing like the ultimate summer playlist. So it'll be a lot of light, fun, things that fit the summertime. And our Gravity kids will be doing one-hit wonders. So that it will be songs by people that they had that one amazing hit and then you never heard from them again. And then Rise will be doing the ultimate road trip playlist. So it's those songs that you love to jam to in the car with the windows down. And then their second term, MDT is doing the history of Broadway, 100 years of Broadway. And so our pop companies will be doing the history of rock and roll. So it'll be just the #1 hits from the beginning of American rock and roll music up until now. So those are really exciting, and it's a really great show. These kids are really talented. I will say that these Covey shows are like, I had nothing like that when I was a kid. It's pretty amazing. So they're 2 very different feelings. The solo opportunities, the black box, are a lot more intimate, but it's an entire number to themselves. And then the ones at the Covey are kind of big and can be a little intimidating, and they've got their whole team to do it with them. So, and then there is one more opportunity for performance, which would be the songwriting showcase. If your kid decides that they want to take their stab at original songwriting, there will be one of those at the end of the year for another performance opportunity. Yep. And then, okay, so now Katie's going to talk about tour. I would have, but I didn't want to mess it up.
Oh, well, I cry when I talk about tours. So
no, I don't.
I'm the best fit for that. Okay, we do have the prices for tour. Tiffany, if you can go, I can't navigate away because of the screen sharing. But if you want to go to someone else's sheet, we can tell these tour prices really quick.
Go to the front desk thing.
Yeah, and actually you can plug them in. It probably won't update during this meeting, but we can plug them in. So this year, in chronological order, Rise is going to New York City. They did that tour last year. It was amazing. They took awesome workshops. I was so proud of them. Like, they just really dove in and invested, and I think learned a lot. And personally, my background is dance, and I was kind of a little jealous of their dance workshop. It was phenomenal, and they looked great. Like, I was so impressed with them. But then they also got to work with this amazing, oh my gosh, Tiffany, you would be better. Anyway, amazing. Like,
they worked
with who was the girl that did the song analysis? Like the song, the history is of their songs and stuff.
Oh, Sherry Anderson,
Yes.
Pre-Audition. So yeah, they worked with some pretty incredibly industry professionals. And even though these kids were here for pop training, the industry professionals were so good at tying it into what they wanted and not making them feel like they were just doing musical theater things. Yeah. So they worked with Sherry Anderson with Rock the Audition, who gave them like all the history of music with like every song they sang.
So cool.
The choreographer who was he's done a lot of like indie music videos.
Yeah.
And then they had an actual casting director from Tara Rubin give them feedback, which Tara Rubin is massive in New York. And then they had 2 people teach them a production number to Hamilton, and they nailed it. And it was so fun, and they were so tired.
And just proved our point that pop kids, there's a great need for them to know the musical theater industry as well. So, but they are returning to New York with us this year. The difference is going to be that they are actually going to participate in the same production and tour experience that our musical theater kids do. And we're also taking our dance company kids on this same tour, and they will also participate in this experience. And the reason why is because they're sort of more, so our New York tour, we work with a group called Manhattan Concert Productions. And they typically do a fully, like a concert version of a full musical. And they bring in Broadway directors, choreographers, and they play all the lead roles. Like they bring in Broadway stars to play all the lead roles. They just recently, a couple years ago, we did Children of Eden, and the voice of Moana was one of the characters, and Stephen Schwartz was there rehearsing, and just the people they've worked with in musical theater are pretty phenomenal. I won't drop names, but just a long list of amazing people they've been able to work with over the years. One is Ben Platt, who crossover. He does tons of musical theater and film and has albums. So just another, way to, another example of what we're talking about. So this year, the reason we're having everyone do the tour is that they're changing. We're doing a different experience with MCP, where it's a concert. It's not a musical. It's a concert instead. And they're pulling from 3 musicals, but 2 of them are extremely contemporary. And this year, instead of having all Broadway stars as the lead roles and the dancers and stuff, they're only going to bring in 2 or 3 Broadway stars to be the main 2 characters, 2 or 3. And then our students will have the opportunity to audition for solos and to be the other characters and to be dancers. So it's a lot more, there will be a lot more for them to learn and to do and to be involved in. And we fully trust MCP. They've never let us down. So we're excited to be kind of guinea pigs for this new experience. So it is in New York City. And the shows that they're kind of putting together in this concert is our Wicked, Wizard of Oz, and The Wiz. So, which is super relevant. And like I said, all contemporary. So really fun. I think it's going to be a great experience for those Rise kids. And it's exciting to try this new thing. Fusion goes to America on Stage. They've done that every year. You'll notice that we're not requiring that for Rise and Gravity next year. They're still welcome and invited to participate, but since they both already go on a tour, we're just not going to require it. But Fusion still gets to go. It's a great day. It's so much fun. Those kids walk away, with their chests up high, so excited with their giant trophies and crowns and all the things. And it's just a fun way to end the year. The competition portion of it is fun, but I think it's just more fun to go with our friends and be there and end the year with a little celebration. Gravity is touring to Tuacahn this next year. We decided with Gravity we'll see how long it goes, but we loved them at the MTCA experience. I think most of them had a really great experience. They were great participants. I was really proud of them. They won great awards. They were so great. They were like our little tiny group because they only had 9 students, but they just were awesome. And they made a lot of great friends with other kids at other studios and participated. And I was just really proud of them. And I think they had a really great time. And we do plan to take them back to that experience. But it is pretty expensive. And so we're going to try with Gravity in every other year rotation. So they'll do the MTCA California tour 1 year. And then on the off years, we'll go to Tuacahn. And Tuacahn is a tour we've been doing for a long time with our musical theater students. And we're going to just create an experience for our Gravity students that's more catered to them. But what we do on that tour is we drive down to St. George. We do a performance that evening. They get to perform their medley on the pre-show stage, and then they see a show, and then the next morning they do workshops, and then they perform again that evening and see another show that evening. The next morning they do workshops again, and we drive home. So they get 2 workshops, 2 performing opportunities, and they see 2 shows. And we will they won't do the workshops with the musical theater kids. We'll create workshop experiences that are specific to the vocal pop program, so that they can, get the most out of that experience. And then the performance, obviously, they'll perform their material, which is amazing. And the shows, if you've never been to a Tuacahn show, it's pretty awesome. They do great stuff. They always have, some contemporary shows. Like this last year, one of their shows was Jersey Boys, which is, the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And so no matter what the shows are, there will be stuff that they can learn from that experience. And it's just a short and sweet tour. And like I said, we're doing that so that you're not stuck with that giant bill for a tour every year, especially because most kids in Gravity will be in that company for 3 years. And we want them to have a variety of experiences. So I think the Gravity tour, correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, is $700.
Yes.
Great. And then the Rise tour,
maximum for Gravity and $29.50 maximum
for Rise. So so they're great experiences. We love tours. We try really hard to have purposeful tour experiences. I sent my daughter on a tour once with her high school. I won't name the school, but the high school musical theater program. And I was so frustrated because when they got home and I asked her about it, they didn't do a single workshop. They didn't do a single performance. They literally just went on tour and went to Disney World for 4 days with their friends. And I'm like, I could have done that. Like, we could have done that as a family for cheaper. So I don't want to just pay for my kid to go on a vacation with other people, but we work really hard to make sure that they do have fun. There is time for fun, but we make sure that most of the tour is very purposeful, very educational, that they're rubbing shoulders with awesome people, learning a lot, and just we want to make sure it's not just a waste of your money, and that we provide something that you couldn't just provide on your own, like just going to spend 4 days at Disney World. So anyway, it's an exciting, it's one of our favorite things about COPA is our tours, and I think the kids love them too. So okay. And then
now we just and moving forward, we're just gonna talk a little bit about, do we still do alto credit?
Yeah.
I was gonna have you actually bring that up, and then we would talk audition, and that would take us right into Q&As. So
okay, awesome. I'm gonna stop screen sharing for just a minute, just so I can reset and get back to that other sheet that has the audition information. Yeah, Alta, I won't talk a lot about it right now. I'll just make you aware of it. Students are able to get high school credit for their participation at COPA. It's a really great program. We are not affiliated with it in any way. We don't make any money off of it. We just really love the program, and so we work with them. It's kind of a long story how it came to be, but it's been amazing for a lot of our students. It's specifically a program for what they call, what do they call it? Credit capture. So it's not like you're behind and you need to catch up, but it's for kids who are heavily involved in a sport or a specific art, and they just are really dedicated to it and spending a lot of time on it so they can get high school credit. It is state accredited, so your high school has to take it. Like, they just can't say no. If your counselor says we don't take that credit, they're wrong. Push back. It's state accredited. We had to get accredited through them, so they know our COPA curriculum already. They've vetted our teachers and the curriculum. So really, we're hands off about it mostly. You just reach out to them, say you're with COPA. They'll help you figure out what credits you can get. Mostly what kids get are fine arts credits, PE. So two of the PE classes, so a full credit, can be covered with your COPA dance classes, and obviously electives. So it's a great program. It's an easy A. I mean, not easy because they're working hard at COPA, but easy grade-wise. And the only thing we do is vouch that they attended class and did the hours that they said they did. The rest is all them, and they'll send it to your school, and it's all great. So anyway, it's a great program. We'll talk more about it after the casting, and we're always happy to chat about it. I've personally used it a lot with 2 of my kids. I know Mindy's used it every year. Right this time, we get the phone calls from people that are like, "Oh my gosh, my kid's not going to graduate, and we're able to go back a little bit and get them credit for COPA, and then they get their last half credit. So it's a great program. Highly recommend it if you are interested in giving your kid a free period, or if they're just interested in other things to do at school. So, okay.
We're just gonna auditions. So,
Auditions. Okay, let me share that screen again.
so while she's getting that open, in the past we have had our pop auditions and our MDT auditions separate. This year we are consolidating them to the same day. We have a lot of people who need to be in those same places, and we are trying to again, this is one of those things where we're trying to make it so that everything feels a little less separated and isolated, like Katie was saying. So you can see that you would be asked to come a specific day according to your grade, and they need to come prepared with a song to sing. We ask our MDT kids to bring sheet music. In the years past, we have not necessarily asked our pop vocal kids to bring sheet music. We're asking the MDT kids to bring sheet music again, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So in my personal opinion, even my pop vocal kids, it'd be great if they brought sheet music, because I feel as if that is a better experience for them, the acoustic experience. Plus, it lets auditions fly a lot faster when you're not having to unplug and plug in, and whose phone is charged and who has the internet and where do you start? So ideally, if you can get sheet music, that is always preferred. Even my pop vocal kids, I would love to encourage that. However, if that is not the case, a track is acceptable. We will have resources for that. It just is kind of a time suck. But we are doing them all the same day, and they will come, and it's all right there, but you'll see that they come and they check in, and it's age-based according to the day.
Yeah. So it's not all the same day. There's 2 days, but yes,
Right.
we are auditioning together to just combine resources. And also because we often kids are like, I don't really know where I want to land. And we can hear it or see it and can advise in that way. So yeah, so you'll look here. So first I want to point out the audition form. There will be a link added here before May 1st that you need to fill out before you come to the audition. That helps us save a lot of times. So watch for that. May 1st is just a couple days. I guess I gotta get that up like tomorrow. Just realized that. I was sort of waiting, since we are combining now, I was collecting the forms from dance and pop and musical theater, so I can combine them into one form that works for everybody. But I have them all now as of today, so I will get to that. Man, this month is flying. So you're going to want to fill that form out before May 1st, or it will be added May 1st, but you can fill it out anytime before the auditions. And then it's just going to go by grade. And so everyone will check in. Please don't arrive before check-in. We won't be there. We won't be ready. That is the check-in time. You don't need to come at like 3:45. And then we'll do a dance audition. The first hour of the dance audition will be much more basic for those musical theater kids that aren't dance heavy, and for the pop vocal kids that aren't dance heavy. And then we'll excuse the pop and musical theater kids to start singing. And we'll keep those kids that are maybe interested in dance company or
MDT,
the heavy MDT dance track. We'll stay and dance another hour, and then they'll go sing. So we hope that this is a more efficient way to kind of get everyone through. So just be aware, if you're a vocal kid that doesn't have a lot of dance training, to not feel overwhelmed if you're in the room with kids that are clearly, they've trained more in dance than you have. We're going to be, analyzing each kid as an individual for these individual programs. It won't be like, oh, you don't dance as good as so-and-so, so you're out, right? So we know that we have these 2 programs that are less dance intensive and the 2 that are more dance intensive, and that will be for sure considered in the audition process. So don't feel overwhelmed. Just get in there and do your best and have fun, and it'll be awesome. We appreciate effort. We love effort. So, okay, so just look through those. You can see the dates. It's pretty clear, dates and times. And then if you scroll past that just a little bit more, you can see the requirement, what we are asking you to bring or have prepared. You can read that paragraph on your own time. I do want to point out that it is possible to participate in multiple companies. Mm-hmm. So if you are loving the vocal pop experience, but you're also a really great dancer, you're welcome to participate in dance companies. You can also do acting company. It's difficult to do vocal company and musical theater or MDT. I would choose one of those sort of vocal based companies, but you can also do dance and acting. And that's it. So you'll want to just remember to go to utahcopa.com and click on that button that will get you to this information, and hopefully this at least helped you know how to read it. And you can click on that link right here again. As a reminder, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Yeah, right there. That'll take you to the information about schedules and add-on classes and prices and calendar dates. So you have everything at your fingertips if after this meeting you have more questions. But beyond that, we'll just share that, like we said, we typically are 4th through 6th, 7th through 9th, 10th through 12th. We really do try to find a place for everybody. We're not in the habit of turning kids away. If there is a student who just isn't quite ready, we'll definitely help you find the classes to help you prepare. And that's happened quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but there have been times where we've said, you're not quite ready for company, but take these classes. And the kids that do, the next year, I'm like, awesome. They did it. They did the work. I can see the difference, and they get cast. And sometimes a couple years down the road, I'm like, I can't believe we didn't cast them that one year, because now they're like one of our strongest kids. So it's not meant to make them feel bad or like they're not good enough for company. It's just, we want every kid to feel successful and to feel proud of what they're doing. And it's really hard if you're in a group that you're just not quite ready for. That can often be so discouraging and really detrimental to their long-term joy and love of participating in the arts. And so we would rather they do a class and do a little more training before they're in a company experience, so that they can love it. But again, our goal is to find a place for everybody. We're not, we're not looking for a way to not cast kids. We do go by age for those companies. Every once in a while, we can bump a kid up. It's pretty rare though. So, and it only happens if there's room. So we try to keep kids with their peers, with their age group. We find that they have a better experience when they're with people their age, and they fit in socially better, and it's just a lot more fun. So anything you want to add to the casting? Okay, awesome.
Just that it doesn't need to be something that's intimidating at all.
Yeah.
It is a friendly, safe space where we want everyone to just be awesome, and we're excited to see how awesome they are.
Yeah. And in the audition process, we consider this as an equally important part of our training. And so if they are on the wrong note or miss their entrance or forget the words, we start over, or we'll help. We're all there to support. We want them to walk out of the room feeling like they learned something and had a great time, so that when they do go audition other places, they hopefully learned something in our audition process that helps them be a better auditioner outside of COPA as well. So, all right, we're gonna we have another meeting starting at 6:15, and we were supposed to end at 6. So, but we have a little cushion. So if we'll just open the floor for questions. If anybody has anything they want to ask, feel free to just unmute and throw it out there. And if not, again, this will be available to watch back. You can share it with friends. You're welcome to email info@utahcopa.com if you have additional questions that pop up as you're considering the program. And just be sure in your email to indicate your location and what program you're asking about, so that they give you the right answers and direct you to the right people. But otherwise, if anyone has any questions, now is the time to ask really quickly. Awesome. Are all of you returning? I know London's returning.
There have been a couple returning that have popped in and out, but
Yeah,
the other last names are not familiar to me. So that's cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Welcome. We're glad you're here, and we'd love to have you as part of the COPA
especially
family.
like this guy.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go London.
So I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to go on tour. So I was just wondering if I could still sign the contract and not go on tour.
So in general, tour is required. However, if you have a circumstance, come talk to us. Don't let that be the reason you don't audition. come talk
Yeah.
to us. Let's see if we can work it out. You know, a lot of times it will kind of depend on why or what's going on. And
Well,
but
we
yeah,
have a ton of history with you, London, so it's
Yeah.
totally a conversation that can be had.
thank you. Just
Okay.
reach out to us privately. It also kind of depends on the nature of this tour, and this
Yeah.
one is one that's a little more flexible.
Mhm.
So yeah,
'Cause yeah, it's not like you're bringing your medley, so
Yeah.
yeah, reach out. Don't let that be a reason. And I also want to say, not to this point, but for reasons not to participate, I just want to mention that we never at COPA want finances to be a reason that your student can't participate. So we do have scholarship opportunities. So if you are looking at these prices and you know your jaw's on the floor and it just doesn't work for your family, reach out. When you get your casting email, there will be a link to apply for scholarships. Do that early and fast. They do those within the first couple weeks of June. But we never want finances to be, if your kid loves this and this is where they want to be, let's work together to figure out a way to make it work. So yeah. Okay, any other questions? Awesome. It's 6:01, so we're going to go ahead and end this meeting. And again, go to that flyer and you'll see where to email us and watch the thing, and it'll be great.
we'll all play next year.
And those of you that are watching this later, we love you and we will see you soon. Okay. Oh, one more thing. So this is on the recording. If you are brand new to COPA and you have no idea what you're getting into, I want to invite you to our concerts. They are next week. Next week. So the pop and musical theater and MDT students are on May 9th, 10th, and 12th. If you come on the Friday or Monday, those are company only concerts. So you'll see all three pop companies.
Those would probably be recommended if you're in the company.
There is all the companies from youngest to oldest for pop and then youngest to oldest for musical theater and MDT. And if you come on Saturday, we have two shows, a matinee and a night show. Each one will have half the companies and all of our little kids classes. So it's also, I mean, maybe you'd prefer that one if you are if you love seeing those littles, which are just so cute. They're also a little bit shorter of concerts. So anyway, we'd love to have you. It's at the Covey Center. Tickets are available on their website. And it would be a great way for you to see if this really is something that you're interested in participating in, see the caliber of our amazing students. You know, it sometimes can solidify it for a student who's not sure to see it and go like, oh yeah, that's totally what I want to do. Or maybe they'll be like, you know what, actually, I would rather do more dancing. I like that. Or maybe if you were thinking about musical theater and you came and you go, oh my gosh, actually, I'd rather do that pop stuff. So it's a great way to just check out the program and kind of see it all on stage and see the grand finale for this year. So come join us. It's going to be a great show. But okay, that is now it.
Thanks all.
All right, see
Hope
ya.
to see you all there.